Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with Railroad Empire, and I'm here with my good friend, the new IKB. Say hi to everyone, IKB.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, and he's the other disembodied voice. I'm the first disembodied voice that you're going to be hearing here. Okay, well, what I've done is if you've watched the last episode, I was unable to carry on with the scenario from where we were trying to grow Hesse. We know them in America as Hessians because they were some of the mercenary troops here. So I went back and which with everything that's going on here, they weren't telling us what was coming soon, down the road. So I didn't know what to prepare for. So I built for the future when I came in and redesigned things. And I did it at start. So we can see here now that Frankfurt Main is our sort of railway central hub with two rather large stations coming through it and working as a bypass as needed. We have an official bypass to this, and I've done everything just about with the track switching stations. That's much more efficient, but like I say, we have a bypass which they're using if we don't need to go through and get grain there, and we're pushing down into here. We have not we rebuilt I rebuilt the ring road sort of through here. There is a path to make a connection through here, and we may end up doing it at some point, but since we didn't do it the first time, I didn't feel overly obliged to do it again. But we can see here the much more heavily infrastructured setups for this, and like you can see a coal blends just to deal with traffic directly into there. Don't really have an out because we're right on the edge, unless we want to come across the Rhine. I believe that's supposed to be the Rhine there. Unless we want to come across it, sort of a dead end station, but we do have that because we're looking at track usage of 85% already, and they're 72 and 33, bringing stuff in that way, just to sort of get familiar with where we are. And I was able to push out and get to Weimar and feed in particularly pigs into our meat processing here. So yeah, it looks a little different than the last time, and just to get for the estate of here, I put the sauerkraut creating out there instead, so they're pumping that way. So that's sort of our current state. I don't know how long this game lasts, Ari. I have intentionally avoided spoilers, as it were, and we're sort of experiencing this together. We have until 1858 at least, but I have a strong suspicion that this will clear out once we get these done, either time-wise or just making the achievements, and then we will move forward because we're at 54 now. We need by 56, and that's why I stopped and saved it here. We've already produced enough clothing for the next one, and we need to secure one more area to get to 58 and then connect more people, which we still need to do. So yeah, but we've already seen tensions between, shall we say, democratic, liberal, whatever, Germans and staunch nationalist, authoritarian Germans, and that's sort of interesting me, and to see how this game goes. And I do suspect we're meant to connect up many more areas eventually, because why put them way out here, especially if you always start over there? So I believe something's coming with all of that. And so that is part of what we're doing here. Quite honestly, and maybe some of you will relate to this, and I'm sure IKB. I actually find pleasure in watching sort of well-managed railway cars move efficiently around the map just on its own. You know, just as that I've sort of created the system, and there isn't too many delays and all that stuff, and that's sort of really cool on its own and fun playing. But so that's part of what we're doing here, but it's also the history that it's telling is why I'm continuing to find it good for the channel. And so we're going to continue with that. Okay, so let's just move forward and see how things go from here. So you got a good picture, IKB, of what currently is happening?
Yep, it looks different, but it looks good.
Right. Okay, good. I definitely value your advice on how things are done, because obviously we have, you know, we can look at our track view here. What track was I considering? Oh, I was planning up to here to you know, to get the let's trash that. That was just thinking about it. We have this whole mountain range here, so we'd have to go around and up and over. Didn't look like a good idea, so I kept this sort of, even though we're now crossing in 3 bridges there, so. And I kept this so that if they needed to go to that station, they could bypass or whatever. Missing equipment. Okay. That probably means we could use a supply tower around here. Well, let's put it over here. Bad condition means I haven't been building enough or putting in enough, which they're free, but repair stations. Essen is growing, very good. And we have all the way through here 4 wide rails. That's a random breakdown that's slowing us down. They're not all sort of interconnected through here, but they are somewhat. Okay, where is this? Oh, get away. Oh, way out there. No, thank you. We're not buying way out there yet. So we're moving a lot of goods in and out of this warehouse. Oh, they want to express to Koblenz. Can we do that? In the sense of, there isn't a sure way of doing that, because it's partially dependent on speed. So we can make sure we have the fastest train, but we can throw on a conductor. So we'll do that. Then we can, let's see, if we find a, it may mean shutting down another express line. I don't know. I wish there was a thing telling me which one was doing an express. So we'll do that. And let's see if we can find a stoker that speeds things up too. We'll take him if they'll work together well enough. And rail cars. We'll do a caboose, which increases the effectiveness of the other workers on it, so they'll go fast. Now, that obviously is what we can do. Oh, yeah, we'll bid on that. The elliptical spring. Okay, auction over. Now the question is, which I am not sure, we're only running 2 cars, is will this qualify as an express because of things like random breakdowns and general congestion on the system? Well, we can afford this, so we're going to upgrade that to a full big warehouse, which will give more throughput. And, you know, let's, before Arno asks, let's go on a train ride. Our express train. See, like I say, we're stopping here, waiting for the track to clear.
Now, Gamer, have you spent any research points on faster and newer locomotives?
Well, yes, we have. We have this Hilda here. And I think that's about as fast as we can get at the moment. And Arno asked, how common were breakdowns in that time period? And I guess that would be to you, IKB.
Right, sort of 1954, 1850, sort of mid-1800s.
Yeah, I mean, that's close enough, yeah.
Close enough. It wasn't... I wouldn't say they were uncommon, but it does depend where you ask. Because if you're in, you know, Britain or Germany, where most railway companies are either financed by the state or have really quite serious financial backing from people who are serious about doing it properly, you don't have too many breakdowns. There are a fair few sort of what could be described as proper major railroad crash type catastrophes where a lot of people die, but a lot of those are more to do with trains hitting each other or trains coming off the track rather than locomotives breaking down per se from a lack of general maintenance.
Right.
Because a lot of now in America, I think the sort of breakdown rates were slightly higher because some of the American companies tried to cut corners a bit on maintenance and stuff.
I'm sure.
For some reason, throughout most of railway history, even where even though it's not quite, if you sort of even throughout most of railway history, even America seemed to have a much higher rate of boiler explosions on locomotives than Europe did, for reasons that I can't quite figure out why.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I mean, it could be anywhere from quality of production varying greatly to untrained, workers, engineers, whatever, to just lack of regulations and people pushing things.
Yeah, it may very well have just been people of a lack of training, people trying to push things beyond their sort of limits. Because you have to remember, at the time, steam locomotives were the cutting edge of technology, pretty much.
Right.
In the same way that these days everyone wants to grow up to be a pilot.
Right.
Back in those days, even not terribly long ago, back when steam trains were still around, everyone wanted to grow up to be a train driver, because that was the fastest thing that your average person would have a chance to go on.
Wow, yeah, I hadn't thought of it in those terms, but yeah.
It was very much even, especially for a lot of history, sort of train drivers or engineers, as you call them in America, were seen as being the top level of the working class, and everyone wanted to be them and looked up to them, because they were, in the same way that people look up to airline pilots these days, are impressed with what they do. Looking up, keeping a steam locomotive moving along is a very involved and at times quite difficult job that commands a great deal of respect, and also there's a certain amount of just how do they do it, that there's a bit of magic and romance to it that never seems to fade.
Right.
But it is very, I mean, there were a lot of sort of what we would refer to as like a proper as train crashes, where things came off of tracks, or there were back before they'd fully worked out how to do proper signal interlocking and such. Trains running into each other. But that generally resulted in there'd be a big crash, there'd be a huge public hoo-ha about it, and then very quickly railway companies would look at things and go, okay, we need to do something about this, and and they would have, I'm not too sure what system, how the governments in, say, Germany or America dealt with things, but I know that in the UK there would quite often be parliamentary level commissions looking into things, and and that sort of stuff, looking into why has this happened, and then making recommendations to the railway companies saying, come on, you need to provide certain safety standards.
Yeah. Yeah, I just mentioning all railway breakdowns, and what I was talking to one of my uncles this last Easter about trains, narrow gauge railway, and he had been scheduled to go on a trip to go on one, but it had just recently broken down. I guess out here we have a... Oh, okay. Calling a new record. So we just hit 64 miles per hour on our Hilda that we just drove on. So, but that still hasn't qualified enough for an express. Not sure here. And there we are heading
Might
back.
be it needs to make the return run to count.
Very well could be. And so, sorry, I'm forgetting some of the details, but this one sort of historical narrow gauge railroad had been having two coal fire locomotives, but things have been catching fire nearby. So they had gotten an old oil fired steam locomotive that doesn't have the spark threat to, because out in the American West things are pretty dry and it can be a fire hazard. And it recently, the engine blew up in that one of the pistons went bad and sort of wrecked itself. I mean, the thing didn't actually blow up, but it just sort of went gaboosh when operating. So they're having to build two new pistons. I think only one needs replaced, but they're building two new pistons for it. And this is, I'm guessing, from at least the early 20th century steam locomotive that's an oil-fired one. So, they didn't have extra pistons laying around. But that finally broke down at some point after, 100 years or more probably of operation.
Yeah, it is. It sounds to me most likely cause I could think of for that would be what I think you're describing is a a cracked cylinder, which would most likely cause would probably be water getting carried over from the boiler into the cylinders, and
Yeah.
then because water can't be compressed when the piston comes back,
Right.
it has a habit of it's either going to blow the end off the cylinder
Right.
or it's going to crack the actual sidewall of the cylinder to get out.
Mm-hmm. That's very likely. I mean, he didn't go into that kind of detail, but it was, you know, definitely sort of thing because he, you know, didn't like blow the engine up, but it was in operation with a bunch of, I think it was the Boy Scouts or whatever were riding it, but it was sort of a catastrophic failure while operating kind of thing, with a loud bang. So it's
Yeah, it would make a pretty loud.
yeah.
It would make a pretty big sound that happening.
Yeah, and so it was like I don't know that anybody was in physical danger from it happening, but it was just a major thing. So that canceled his trip was sort of where he was starting the point, and I talked to him a little bit about that. Okay, maintenance standards, that's good, but I think we're going to go with increased power to our locomotives by 5%. We'll do that. And train instruction profit's good. Accelerating maintenance by 20%. We'll do that. Get the bogey. Okay, now how is our population doing? Okay, we're nearly there. What? I think we're gonna make it by time needed, but what do we need here more? Okay, more potatoes or vegetables, I guess. More beer. More clothes, more fruit brandy, but the lower on the list, the more fundamental, and more logs. Okay. So, well, that's coming down to Frankfurt. Let's make sure they have that on a priority. Logs. Where are we getting logs from? Logging company, yeah, but which one? Where? Way out here, so it's probably coming from this warehouse. Or do we have anything? I know there's some way up here, but we're not yet connected to that zone. And way up here at this warehouse. So these guys have logs too. So let's see if we can add here. Hopefully not jam up our system more than it already is. Let's track usage. Yeah, so we're going to come to number 2 here. And we're going to stress logs. Not that you can't carry something else, but we're going to do that. And for locomotive, because this is going to be a sort of heavy pulling, we're going to do tractive power. Wish they, because they use speed on the other symbol for lightning bolt. I wish they kept the consistency. So we'll, but that's heavy tractive power, reasonably fast. So since it's going to be that, we'll hire him, but oh, I don't know that I want to. We're going to unassign you guys. Let's put you on a different one. That I want speedier taps, and from over here, well, yeah, let's do another one. Come through here, and we're also going to stressify logs. But now I want to find a city to city, and let's see if we can speed you up a little bit. And yeah, you fit in well enough. And another city because I was actually first looking for a conductor, but there. You could use a conductor. And do they work? Yeah, they work well enough together. Okay. I think we will do Oh, sausage. Where? Oh. We might get there sometime soon, so I think I will bid on that. Just things out in Danzig or out in Breslau area or something I'm not looking forward to buy at this moment. And let's see, come back here and make sure that, oh no, not new, oh. Oh, set up rail line, okay. That's still that, there we go. Come to here, but we want to stress potatoes. So that they feel like growing. What is worms needed? They need sausage. They have more bread than they can use. They want sauerkraut and beer. Well, how about another Frankfurt? Well, what's... Oh no, if we're coming down here, we have to use that Frankfurt. Otherwise it'll be very long, and the store goods, we're gonna do a faster train. Hopefully that will... Well, let's try to get that if you have it. Okay. Wardworthy Corblins is pleased as punch. Very good. Does that mean we still haven't gotten our... Well, beyond that, and beyond trying to just make a non-stop, you know, a railway that doesn't go through any towns or anything, I don't know how to speed it up more than that for a bonus. We don't have the abilities, I don't think we do, have the ability to make some sort of either specific bypass or, you know, to like give a priority to a mail or passenger train over a freight train to, you know, have to put one on a siding to ensure speedy throughput. They do that, don't they, IKB?
Yes, they do.
Right.
It's generally speaking, it's the rule that passenger trains and to things like mail get priority because they're more likely to complain if they don't get there on time, basically.
Right. Yeah, and so I don't see that in the game too, because I very well would be, you know, willing to do either, you know, a bypass, you know, a side bypass, or even theoretically you could do crossing points and with signals, you know, if there was a, you know, a dead time to put trains on the opposite tracks briefly. But that isn't in the game, so I can't speed it up beyond that. And how are we doing? Okay, well, we're getting the vegetables, so need the wheat now is the next, but...
There's another cargo that would get sort of priority around the railway network would be perishable goods like fish or fruit.
Right.
And so there's
Apparently, Bismarck has set his mind on a military
you quite
trial
often
of
get
strength.
sort of express freight.
Does he really want to plunge brothers into war?
Ha! You can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. These eccentric German princes can only be united by an iron fist.
Unity for sure, but at what cost?
Oh, hogwash. You don't want to know what your sausages are made of. The less you think about it, the better you will sleep.
Okay, sorry for interrupting there, but we apparently achieved the task. Okay, we've got the population. And so that's talking about how, what sort of Germany we're building here. So, interesting. So, yeah, about back to perishables. I presume there's different freight rates, which get you different sort of speeds of delivery kind of thing?
There there can be, depending on the railroad and how things are set up, but
Right.
you do tend to at least in the UK, sort of at around about this sort of time, and onwards, there was the idea of you'd have sort of the stopping freight that would sort of go from station to station, dropping off and picking up wagons, and then you'd have sort of a fast freight for things like fish and other perishable goods that would generally have, higher quality, rolling stock. So, have wagons on it that have got, better suspension and that are, better brakes and that are built for higher speed, and would generally have an older but still fast and still reasonably powerful express locomotive or passenger locomotive coupled up at the front. And quite often they'd sort of run at night, so you'd get things, at least in the UK, like the Flying Kipper, which was
Okay.
the
Cool
name
name.
given to the fish train because it was really fast and it was full of kippers. So,
Right.
and presumably lots of other type of fish.
Right. Yeah, I got that. That was cool. Okay, because I've heard of like the Flying Scotsman and whatnot running up to Edinburgh
Yeah.
and what, but that okay. I get that, and that works. Okay, so we need to expand into another area to achieve the next thing, but it was also a good thing to do. And the one that we can readily afford is this one at 1.8 million marks, which will we could afford going here, but we have competition. Not that we can't directly compete in there. One, I don't really want to have to build bridges over their railway or tunnels under their railway system. If I need to, I will, but I would prefer not to. We could save up for another zone like down here. We're not that far away, but then we would get the zone and not have, because we're almost there, not have the money to really build, but that is definitely an option. But I think they're pushing us to here, which will get us 3 more cities, and will get us things like logs, which we are sort of needing. We can, let's come out. Do we have slots here that we could even move logs to here, and then instead of another whole train running in here, trains that are going back and forth would just be able to pick up some logs. So that would work. So I think that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna buy this now. Okay. Okay. For me, the big thing now with the way this works is where to plant more warehouses. We have this one here that's feeding in, well, at least 3 things that are readily in, I don't know if we're using any peat yet. And there's the fire truck going by. Do we put a warehouse? Okay, oh, that's another thing. Let's look at the... We also have mountains. Okay, so we need to go through here or around and up and over. Well, we might come through the mountain at some point. Connect to there. Well, I think what we're going to do is do a warehouse here so that we can bring in, pork or pigs, whatever those are, and wood centrally, and maybe milk from across, and wheat across. the way. Yeah, that works. Okay. So, let's look at Brunswick, and we're doing everything now with these signal controls. And as I'm going to title the episode, I've already decided building for the future. So we're building for future expansion. And at some point we will probably put a station here. I presume it's something, but we're going to go up north too. So I think that works, so that we can either station, come out to a loop there or loop around the north around this mountain. That way we can come over to that way and we can come down to here. Okay, I was thinking about running a railroad up through here or over to here, but not just yet. So we're going to come out we don't want bridging over just empty land, so trying to keep the earthwork cost down somewhat. Well, because I think it's going to be a time before we get that. We're going to come. This. Okay. Let's trash this, actually. Let's come back here. Build a train station with signaling control. Here, I guess. Like that. Okay, now we're going to redo this. And I really, I've come to think, especially with this German series a bit more, how important infrastructure is on the development of human history. Obviously, we're looking at railroads, but it goes equally for roads and, well, in fact, seagoing too, and how much it influences things. Because partially, we're simply seeing is why are the railroads going where they're going is because of the mountains. So places that may be physically further away are more connected than places are closer because of mountains. So it's really an important topic that I think is often overlooked. How much is geographical determinism affecting people and cultures versus just their natural culture? I guess we can see this in Germany's attempt to build a high seas fleet, and German Navy isn't bad. I don't want to say that, but it doesn't have a natural affinity for the sea that, say, Britain does. But Oklahoma in America has a natural affinity for the sea. even though it's a completely landlocked, very much in the center of the United States. And if you'll look at a place like Oklahoma, will produce a lot of naval personnel, a lot of naval volunteers, a lot of merchant seamen. And I think it's because they've already had the seagoing inclination because of the culture coming out of Britain, even though the individuals are coming from a landlocked geographical location. So culture does determine it, but culture is formed at one place and at one time and carries on. Okay, and before he tells me to, there we go. A supply tower in the middle of that. And we may need to make another one here, but we'll see. Okay, now those are connected through to there. So that's good. Now, again, we're building for the future, so let's... And yeah, that's what we need to see. Hanover. Wow.
Alright. Now, depending where you go from,
So
where you think you're going next from Hanover?
Well, yeah, because we're going to put a big warehouse here, right north of it, because we can feed in stuff from over here. We can feed in, you know, pigs from here, and obviously it'll connect up to Bremen, which will connect over to Oldensburg. See, I even left these two more this side if we want to come this way, or if we want to loop around north. I'm not sure yet to connect, but we will connect there. So let's sort of have this sort of high up to give us a little bit of angling space. We're coming north of the lake, but across the river here. Yeah, I think that's good. So now we want to connect these two, but we don't want to jam it right into the mountains. Let's zoom out a little bit. And we're going to connect to Brunswick, and we're going to connect south of the lumberyard to connect into Cassel as well. And north and...
Because you might be able to have a train that goes from Hanover to Brunswick and then has the locomotive chains end and then goes down to Cassel.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but what I'm planning on doing is sort of a triangular thing. I'm going to go from Hanover down to connect into here to Cassel, and then I'm going to come from here north of there at some. I mean, it may be starting out at the same road, connect up into Brunswick. So I'm really trying to, you know, and you said in another episode, one of the big things that railway companies have to do is deal with what was done before. But I'm really trying to build for that future of expansion. So I'm even trying not to set this in the center of this area. So, and I'm just actually debating with myself not that I'm planning on it, but if I'm going to put in a second railway station, is it going to be the left side or the right side more likely to, you know, need extra traffic? Is it going out to here? But here we only have one city, unless we're going to push through the mountains, which we might at some point, you know, because we could maybe do this with just one tunnel coming through here. So we might be wanting to come down into here, but would we more likely be pushing north of Brunswick? I don't think so. So I think probably this side, now that I'm thinking about it more, is more likely. So we're going to put that sort of here with the ability to throw in a secondary station if needed. There we go. Okay. Now, we'll do some of the simplistic. At least I'm thinking, yeah, that would be just that to there. That to there. Okay, that's an easy decision here. Now, okay, it looks to be some of the cheaper likely route. So we'll do that. We'll do that. And then over here, okay. Do not enter unless it's clear. Do not enter unless it's clear. Don't enter unless it's clear, and we need to tell it this one to come this way. Get all that to flow. Okay. And yes, I think we need another supply station, even though we do have one down here. Up here, just because it's such a long distance. No, let's just get rid of that one for now. Yeah, I'm going to wait until we build this second. Figure out what we're going to do. We're going to start over here. What we're going to do is we're going to start, come right along here for a little bit, and then we're going to... This is part of the reason I'm building for the future instead of just using these tracks over, keeping them free, because we would only be a little bit of double usage, but will probably end up being which gotta make sure we get the that would be coming this way. Yeah, that would work. Okay. There we are. That's right. Okay, that's what I want to do. Oh, did I do that right? Nope. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, no, okay. This... Huh? Yeah, no, this doesn't work. Why isn't this working? Okay.
I see what you've done. You've taken from the outs.
Okay, rest. Yeah, well, let me just make sure that this, yeah. What we're trying to do is, okay, well this one, okay, no, this needs to come, we're going to just do a little bit along parallel. Okay, we need to, yeah, come around that more. We don't want to get into the lumber zone. I need to go to this far side is what I need to do. There we go. That's what we need to do. There we go. Now, parallel into there. There we go. That's it. And there we go. Don't go there unless it's clear. Don't go there unless it's clear. Don't block that. Okay. Now that we have that location, let's, because we don't want trains stopping and getting their supplies while they're blocking otherwise throughputs, so we'll put that up there. That's sort of what I wanted to see, and I wanted to make sure that trains going back and forth here had a supply tower as well, so I didn't want it that section. Okay, so that's a good start. Now up here, let's specify what are these? What are these hops? Okay, and peat. So you can store up some if you can. All right. Now here, let's see what we can do for. Can we get? Okay, so 270 versus 30. No, this would be cheaper. This would be a lot cheaper. And I don't think because we're going to feed into there. I don't think we need too much stuff. So we're going to try to do this somewhat on the cheap. And I know sometimes I go wrong by doing that, but I don't think I am here. So we're going to come from here up to here so we can join up with that. Come across here. We want to just do one bridging setup. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I do like designing these type of things. Okay, scratch that. I'm just going to build for the future here and here. Just do it. We have the money. We're going to do it. Okay, back to here. Quite honestly, aesthetically, having the 4 width wide just seems like overkill, over industrialization, over whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but it seems like a bit much to me, but it's probably for the best. Okay, count it right about there, and see if we can hook right into that one. And now over here, let's come back here. We're going to parallel this all the way across there, which, as you can see over here, keeps the bridging cost way down and does that. Now, what we want to do here is, well, let's keep this current convention going. That direction, this one in this direction, so you don't want to go there unless it's clear. You don't, well, I guess go here unless it's clear. And back over here, we want to specify that way. I'm not putting a check here because I don't want to block anything temporarily even. So we'll have a supply tower here back far enough to clear that out and give us another check. Okay, now we're going to come over here with another small train station. Now I'm just seeing this. I guess, I don't know. We're not really set up to connect to that. But we can always put in another station on the other side for just another 38 or 36,000 marks. Okay, now with that, we're going to come here. We're going to come here, swing up to like this. There we go. Okay, this one needs signaling station there. There we go. So don't go unless that way unless it's clear, don't go that way unless it's clear, and don't go that way unless it's clear. Is that long enough? I think so. The reason I'm worried about, I want to be able to have a, well, it would be an empty train. Okay, because if I were to, and I've experimented on a different map scenario of having two trains working out of a station like this that's feeding a warehouse. So one will start off and go there and then wait until there's clearance, and then the next one will go, and so the empty one will come back here and wait, and we can even, since they'd be empty, even have a second waiting spot here to keep that flowing for the distance. And I don't, and it's not really load times are the problem, it's more track running time if you just have one train. But so this is set up for multiple trains, and obviously we can, you know, stack a few waiting for the milk setup. So okay, so we have, let's make sure we have wheat, and we'll go big or fairly big, and milk. There we go. Okay, so we'll start with some of the easy ones. Here to here. We want you to be, well, you can actually be full. And we will put in a good industrial one. Yeah, we'll set it from here to here. And we also want you full. Actually, we can go minus and do that. The Rhine as well. Now we're right now going to, because we're going to want to, everybody wants wheat, including the bread makers. So we're going to clone the train. That way it'll wait for track clearance to put a second one on that. So we will feed that efficiently into that warehouse. I don't know how much milk demand there will be. Some I know, but I don't know how big that will be. Now we're going to also start off from Hanover to Cassel. And locomotive, the fast Hulda, however you pronounce that. And then we're going to do Brunswick to Cassel. Another one of these. And then we're going to go, just while they're starting in that direction, we're going to go from Cassel to Hanover. Get going from the other direction, same train. And we're going to do another one from Cassel to Brunswick. Add a another one of them. Oh man, we'll add a stoker onto that one. Okay, so that gets them going in each direction. Now from the warehouse, and this is something I was thinking about, but can we come? No, let's start here to here. Too sharp of a turn, it looks like. Okay. And this may be too. I was worried about this and I didn't. There we go. That looks like we might be able to do that. Oh, no, got the wrong one. Okay. There we go. Hopefully that'll work. Both. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. At least we get some of the money back. Not all, I don't. Will that be more of a gentle turn? Oh, well, let's just actually trash that. Let's try from here to there. Okay. Parallel it to there. Okay, there we go. And what? Oh, right. And don't enter unless it's clear, and don't enter unless it's clear. And then may not be long enough, so we'll put another signal up here. And that one maybe should be there actually, so let's. Okay. How's that looking at KB?
That looks good.
So we've got that. So we're gonna run a train from here up to here, and there we want you to be. Oh, wait a minute. We don't want you to be full because we don't want you blocking other traffic through waiting to load up. So we'll let you run even if you're empty. There we go. So that will come up. Feed logs into here, and we'll make sure you want logs for whoever may be having trains come through here. Oh, we need to make maintenance buildings, maintenance buildings, maintenance buildings.
Maintenance buildings, supply
yes.
towers, everything.
Yes, yes, yes. And you're right about this. Okay, we got supply towers. I think we're doing fairly good for supply towers. Fairly good.
I mean, realistically, each station should technically count as a supply tower.
Yeah, and they
At
just
least
don't
I
in the
think it
game.
should.
For some reason, I don't know why. Maybe just because the distances wouldn't cooperate with that. Okay, so we want... I think these guys probably just... Well, actually, let's come from up here, get whatever you want, come down to Cassel, and we'll do a cargo train. City skylines. Well, you know, the problem with city skylines is that it's not historical. I played old Sim City, so I like sort of like this sim-based game. But for the channel, I sort of kind of think that it should be something that has a stronger history connection. So if we were playing, I don't know, Sim London, that it started out with London at a particular date, and you had to deal with the realities of growing and dealing with London, like putting in the underground as it was developing, and then trains, and maybe, oh well, hey, cars are now really a thing, and so you need highways or something like that. That would be something I would consider for the channel, but not so much what we're doing here. And I don't think I put in one from here to here, and that will require a supply tower. And they have their supply tower there, and so to try to keep things from being overtly done, let's put this right there. Okay, so let's let
The
this...
issue with Austria will soon be solved. And then I will turn my attention to your little business.
Okay. We extend our network, and that got us 6 areas. So someone's gonna get their Sim London. Never. No, there's no city of. I'm just saying that if you had a, there isn't, but if you had a more historically based dealing with a city over time, that would be something I would very much consider for the channel. Like this. I like, and quite honestly, I don't know if we're going to be doing Transport Fever for the channel or not so much because of the lack of history involved that I understand. It looks like a great game. I want to learn it. I want to play it. This looks really cool. It really does. But I just don't know the historical connection. Because quite honestly, I wouldn't have played so much of this if I didn't, say, have the Civil War episode or series, or didn't have this German unification series. Bad condition. That means we don't have somewhere. Okay, they could use one. I'm actually sort of reluctant to put them in some of the maintenance buildings because they stopped to do maintenance there. Actually, probably more likely want to do it out here, so they do maintenance away from other locations. But well, we'll add some of these. These just may, I don't think these ever got added when I was putting them together, and so because particularly like on the ring road and similar things, I want to keep the most flowing traffic we can.
Now, because historically, you'd have a actual locomotive, shed or motive power depot where your locomotives would go back to when they're finished at the end of the day and have maintenance done and such. And if it needed work that was beyond what could be done at the local shed, the engine would then be sent back to the main locomotive works to have more extensive repairs done.
Right. And so even in the model here, there is a, spar going off into a maintenance shed, and that would be better to keep the track flowing, but the game doesn't do that. So that is, you're absolutely right. That would be a much more ideal situation. Okay, well, 2 things we want to do. One, I want to connect this to this here. Okay, let's see if we can do this. Okay, that's good. I want to make them long enough so that they don't, waiting for a clear track doesn't stop other things going by here. So let's come here. Let's see if we can take out these 2 signals. Okay, signals though we do want. Sounded like Yoda there, putting my sentences together oddly. Okay. Yeah, so don't enter unless it's clear. Don't go there unless it's clear. Here, unless it's clear. This needs to be come this way. Don't know why we lost that. Enter. Don't go that way unless it's clear. This. Okay, that should keep everything relatively well flowing through here. And then what we want to now do is, well, we can start with a Brunswick to there. Do that, and a Hanover to here. Hopefully that will be connecting things up well enough. Now, Bremen wants a connection, and that is fine by me. Hello, Daddy Killer. Sorry, didn't see you there. This is Surprise Railway Empire game. Yeah, that's what we're playing. Railway Empire right now, and it's a single person game. Nope. We did the Hoi 4 earlier. Sorry about that. We were playing that earlier. We actually ended the series. We lost. Okay. But this is Railway Empire, and we're playing the German DLC with the unification of Germany. Covers that in the railway form. Okay, now we have to see what we want to do with Bremen. We want to connect it to Oldensburg. I'm thinking north out of Oldensburg around across the river to there. I think is going to be the most efficient way of doing this. And then down to there.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. That looks good. Okay, connect that up. That direction there. Okay, so now we have that. We need a supply tower. We'll put it there. Now we're going to need to get pigs connected up with that for their meat. Sausage farm, and might as well get you coming down to Hanover and with a fast locomotive. Now coming out of here, yeah, that looks good. And so this clearly shows how we're uniting multiple German states together that may not have been overly united before. Okay. And signals. That way. And that way. Okay, so now we have that connection. We'll go from Bremen to Oldensburg. Basic passenger sort of locomotive, and we will go from Oldensburg to Bremen to get one going from each direction at the same time, so they cross back and forth. Hopefully. They're still waiting for track clearance. I think we may need more signals along this. Yeah, that's our problem. Waiting for things to clear down here. And possibly up here too. Yeah, that'll clear the tracks. There we go.
right now, gamer, are we going to have a spur heading towards the pig farm just underneath Hamburg?
Yes, that is part of the plan. Now, what I think we're going to do is just move it straight into the warehouse.
Yeah.
Well,
bring it straight into the warehouse, and then have a small station for the pig farm, and then
I'm
have a
actually
little.
thinking no. I'm thinking of a full station because, well, because we're building for the future. So I'm thinking something like this, that we may run north. Because we're going to come up here eventually, and because we can come over here and go, we could actually theoretically afford this territory up here right now, but we couldn't build anything yet. So no point in buying until we could actually start building, unless there was some sort of race. So we have wheat way up here. We've got whatever these are, milk and wool and potatoes. So we're probably going to put another and 2 cities up here and other cities that may be fed by it. So we're probably going to put a warehouse up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we go there, 6. So we might even want to run pigs into another direction as well. Now the question is when we come out of here, we're going to go north around to Hamburg.
Do we want the pig station to be so that you go through the pig station to get to Hamburg, or do we want the pig station to be on a side branch?
Yeah, and that's the question, and I was just having that thought. My first instinct was to have it on the main connection route, but I'm thinking maybe, because either way I'm going to build it with and so it's because I'm thinking of going both ways, not just feeding into the warehouse like I'm doing some of the smaller ones, because here there really isn't that good of a reason to connect here, because we're already coming up north around that way, and there just isn't enough reason. In my opinion, I'm thinking about maybe sort of running a connection through to Oldenburg up to here to then connect there. But so these spars are good, but what I'm wondering is do we do this and connect down into here? But we're going to want to connect Hamburg into this warehouse too. So do we do the connection? Because I hate building bridges over other railroads. So I want to I want the beauty of the interconnectivity is my design concept. So because let's just see. I think big warehouse. Yeah, that. Ooh, well, let's if we get at the right angle, can we? Oh, we can't build there because we don't own the zone. That's right. Okay, but it would be functional to do one warehouse for the 2 of those. Now down here, we could even, and it did cross my mind to put a warehouse there, but so. See, I'm wondering, how do we do that? Do we do a north-south or east-west? I'm thinking east-west. And having some come connect here and some go down here. I don't know. Or because we want to connect up to Flensburg eventually and over to Schwinn or Sherwin or whatever. Maybe on a diagonal like that. Make a compromise. Well, the route that goes south or the route that goes north, which Well, this is the one that more naturally feeds into there, so we're going to put it here. Whether it's the best choice or not, I am not sure. So we're going to connect that there. And then we're going to come from here, leave the other two available as additional throughputs to someplace else, like connecting from here down over to here or something like that, for a Hamburg connection line once we get that going. Because we can always expand it to a larger train station, not so much to deal with loading or unloading pigs, but just to allow trains going through more efficiently if needed, if traffic gets heavy enough. Okay, that connects that up. And that connects to there, so that's good. We like that. We're going to need a supply tower, so we'll do that there. Now we'll come from here to the warehouse, and we'll put on an industrial train, and we'll specify that the warehouse will also accept the pigs right there. Fill her up. Okay, so that should then feed Bremen with pig products. They're the only ones that directly need pigs. And I know I could could directly feed there, but maybe they'll pick up pigs. We could feed to both, but I just aesthetics if nothing else. Okay, I think we're going to end the episode. Not the stream here, guys, but we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you have any comments or railroad questions, please post them below. Either I or IKB will try to answer them in a future episode. Thanks so much. See you next time for more historical gaming.